forever blowing bubbles, pretty bubbles in the air.
Good afternoon, mate.
Good afternoon. Been a while, hasn't it?
It's been a long while. I think everyone who was putting afternoon chaps there was going to expect Baz's face to pop up on the old screen, but we haven't got Baz. We've got Jazz. So,
and you got sober. You got sober Jazz as well, which is very unique, very refreshing, and
sounds good to me, mate. Sounds good to me. Well, we'll have a little pre-season chat and talk about expectations of the season and what you think is gonna come for West Ham in the next sort of few months or so. Pie is banned, so I did speak to you about that beforehand. I'm still happy to talk takeover. I'm all good with that.
Yeah.
But what I'm not going to do is sit here and pretend that I know anything about how to take over a football club or know anything about investments or and we're just not going to go into that because we're not qualified to do so. So, but weekend, mate. Obviously, we had the game against Atlanta. Did you go? Did you see any of the highlights?
No, because one of the reasons were that we haven't signed anyone. I know I sound like a 13, 14-year-old kid, and I did used to moan back then. But then, actually, we always signed players back then anyway. Yeah, one of the main reasons has been that a lot of the good feeling I had on the back of the season has dwindled. And it got to a point, I wasn't that excited to go and watch. I just didn't. If we had signed just one player, I would have gone and watched him and thought, yeah, let's go and see what the lad's like, see how he fits in. Sort of say my thanks to the team because I haven't seen them for last season, done great. But yeah, just didn't want to go because I know there's a long season ahead with Europa and I'm going to be missing a lot of the time because I'm a season ticket holder as well. So I just thought I'd use as much time with the family doing other things before, when I'm kind of married with a family and the amount of time I'm going to be out, I need to collect the brownie points, don't I? So, yeah, I just didn't think there was a need. Yeah, I just didn't want to go, mate. Yeah.
I think a lot of people felt the same because although some people felt like 30,000 was a good attendance, I'm not so sure it was. I think West Ham may have got that a little bit wrong because I think if you do kids for £1 or you do slightly cheaper tickets for adults at £20, I thought it was strong in it a little bit. I thought at 10, I think 10's probably right for those sorts of games. I don't think 30,000 was a big attendance. So you would have felt like after the buzz of getting into Europe last season, the excitement of that, and like you said, we haven't given the players our thanks as yet as a fan base. You would have thought everyone would have been running over there, mate, to just to applaud them and just to say well done for last season. And it didn't feel like that. I did go. I was late to the ground because there was issues with the waterlogging of the roads and so on. Yeah. But I lasted about 15 minutes, mate, and I left. It wasn't for me. Blokes taking selfies with their misses and all that sort of stuff. That's not my idea of football. But I did sit in the new stand behind the goal because I wanted to experience that and see what it was like and see if it was improved. And I've got to say, it was probably the best seat I've sat in that stadium. I felt like it did bring it as close to the pitch as Upton Park. In fact, I thought the distance was very similar. And it actually felt quite similar to being behind the goal at Upton Park. So on that basis, that was a positive to come out the day, mate, because I think they've done that well.
Okay, that's good. Yeah, because usually when they do a few things reasonably well, they boast about it quite a lot. So I haven't heard too much about them patting themselves on the back. So that'll be interesting to see when I go back. And that's another thing. The first home game is Monday, 8 p.m. And as you know, I live out west. So I've got to rush off after work and get there and probably be back home shortly after, 1 in the morning or midnight if I'm lucky. And then the Palace game, I've set up a party for my wife's birthday on that Saturday, so I can't go to that. So it's going to be a while until I can get at least a Saturday game. I think, especially with the Europa, there's going to be a lot of Sundays involved. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, hopefully my mood changes. I think we can discuss that later on. But yeah, at the moment, I'm a bit of a downer, to be fair. I'm always a positive person, as you know. I'm the first one to ever go to someone who's moaning about the club unless they've got really good reasons behind it. But I'm a human. I can't believe it. Yeah, especially after the season we've had. I'm not in a good place at the moment. Yeah, I'm quite down.
I'm all right. And the reason I'm all right is because every season we almost get to this point in time and we're really annoyed annoyed at the transfer window and we're panicking. And I'm going into this season after having a long break away from football, and I'm not going to let that man ruin my enjoyment of next season. I'm going to go to every game. I'm going to enjoy every game. I'm going to enjoy all the European games, and I just want to enjoy my football. And I've almost got it into my mind that there won't be any extra transfers. I don't care that there's no extra transfers. I don't care that we're probably going to get the biggest injury and really struggle next season. I don't care about all of that. I just want to see my mates again. I just want to have a beer over there again. I want to have a sing-song and just enjoy a bit of football again. So, while everyone's on Twitter going crazy and going mad, which deservedly so, because, we do know it's a time that we should be pushing on the draw of European football. It's not everything that we was promised, but it's almost a little bit of what we was promised. So now was the time to go and show that, and it's not happened. But I'm just not letting it eat into me, mate. I'm not going to do it. So
I think that's a really good positive approach. And when you look at the training ground and the players, they're like you. They are so happy to be there. You can tell. Rice is back from his break. He's all smiles again. So like you said, the positivity is there amongst the squad, in the training ground, under the management, the back room. That's all we can wish for. But it's just a few people like me on the outside, just kind of, all we needed, all I wanted was just one signing. I wasn't being greedy. I just wanted one reasonable guy over the line, and I would have been totally different. And what doesn't help, like you said, is how many different sources of information we've got. Some are complete rubbish, some are a bit better than others, and how the stories change every minute. Particularly with that latest transfer saga with Milinkovic we've been following, the story has changed every hour. It's driving me up the wall, and perhaps, like you said, I need to learn to just not look at my phone and not perhaps talk to any of my West Ham sort of friends, but I can't help that. And it's just the modern world where we're in. When we were kids, my dad used to love in the morning going to the paper shop, picking up the Sun, Daily Mirror, straight away switching it to the back page, and he goes, "Jazz, let's have a look who we're going to sign." All the gossip. Those were the good old days. But then as soon as you read the paper until the following day, there was no other rubbish to enter your brain. There's none of that, all the powers.
I remember it.
Yeah.
I remember when we signed Dean Ashton, I'd done the same thing. I'd been on a party all night. I can't remember what West Ham we'd been to or what game we were going to, but I hadn't slept. Been on the drink all night. We're still at the paper shops are now open. It was like, go and get a paper. And the Dean Ashton news had broken, and it was exciting, mate. And I miss those types of signings. It annoys me a little bit that we've had some of the other people who are involved in what we're doing here sort of suggesting that there isn't been really any business going on, and signing players for £1 million or free transfers don't count. I think the point is, if we are in a pandemic and money is short, you've got to change and you've got to find other ways of doing business. And these other clubs have gone about it in their way, and they may have signed a player for only 1.5 million or whatever it may be. But mate, that will do for now. If you can't go and sign your normal type of transfer target, then you've got to switch it up. And if that means we've got to go and be clever and astute in the way of free transfers, it's only us and Newcastle who haven't signed an official outfield player yet. Once Newcastle sign Willock, which it looks like what they're going to do, then it's only us. So I don't buy that whole rubbish that it's because it's a pandemic and there's not much business happening. At the end of the day, our situation's different. We were the club who broke into Europe out of the normal non-top 6 sides, and now we need to bulk up. And if we don't, I am concerned that Declan Rice, who has played almost every minute of every game last season, then has gone and had a really intense Euros, and now he's coming back after not a very long break, and he's going to play every minute of every game again and be travelling. Mate, I just pray that he doesn't get any sort of serious injury, because that's a lot to take on that boy's body, mate. So it is nervous, and it isn't just Declan Rice, is it? It's anyone. It could be Souček, it could be Antonio. We know what he's like. How are we going to get through that season without one of those types of injuries? It's inevitable.
I think you're right. I think you've got to have a plan as early as January, perhaps. And then, like you said, it's not all about 25, 30 million players, as we've seen with David. You've got to beef up the squad in terms of, there were so many good quality free transfers out there. Bertrand, Van Aanholt, David Luiz, even Andre Ayew. I thought I would have taken him back, given him another chance. What happened in the first spell wasn't all his fault. So many good people out there you could have brought in, and we didn't look at any of them. And I just want to be in that room and find out what the hell's going on. It just doesn't make any sense to me. A few of the sources that we read said many months or weeks ago that we had 85 million. I was pretty surprised by that amount. Then it went all quiet. Now we don't even know. Then today they're saying we've got 45 million. So I don't know what the hell's going on. And even if it's those numbers, whichever club we're in discussions with, looks like we always pull away from the move because of 3 million. If they want 21, we do 18 and then we just walk away. Yeah. So we got 45 million. This particular centre half, I've looked on, I know YouTube is limited in what you can see in the player, but from what I can see, he's 23, he's played in a good league, the guy's solid, he's physical, and what West Ham fans will love him, he can half goes into tackle, mate. You know, he's like a Repka. And a player like that, he'll become a hero at West Ham. You know, he's a no-nonsense defender. You know, he's very aggressive, and it's taken you weeks and weeks and weeks to what looks like agreeing a 17, 16 million. Oh, come on, even if it was 20, just do it, get it over the line. And then that particular website that came out with the news, they're close to the board. I know a few one of them. And the board told them to go out there and tell the fans it's due to the agent fee. So it's not our fault. We've agreed with the club. We've agreed with the player. Put it out there. It's an agent fees. And I was thinking, agent fees? I mean, come on. You have an inkling of who you're dealing with at the beginning. And if it's West Ham, they've probably been in negotiation for bloody 3 months. You know the way they work. Give you an example. Fofana got injured 7, 8, 9 days ago. Got a bid accepted for the Southampton guy last night.
Yeah,
and he'll be in the squad over the line before the weekend. This is how you move, and this is how we all used to move, apart from the time when Davies joined us, Sullivan. It's just gone. It's just like buying a fish in a market.
But there's no way that replacement was something that they thought of after that injury happened. They must have already had him on a list where they knew that if they lost a player in any position, that's their target, and they knew how much it was going to cost them and what it was going to take to get that player out of the club. And that's what you should always have. And I know Leicester, that's how they operate. I think they said Wolves operate in the same way. And it was Southampton as well. Southampton said, if we lose any one of our players, we know who our targets are for each position, and we'll go and make, whether it be first, second, third choice.
You're right. I mean, look at Brentford. They got rid of Mopé and brought in the Tony guy. If he goes, they'll have the next one ready from, because they've got such a good scouting system. And hopefully the scout that we got from Man City, he can't start working for us until January. So once that beds in, the next couple of windows, they've got to be better for us. Because I think you got two extremes here of people, David and Sullivan and Moyes. Totally different heads and tails. David doesn't trust him, so things move along a lot slower. He wants to be in the room now, being told in negotiation. He doesn't trust anything Sullivan will tell him if he's not there himself. And Sullivan doesn't believe in negotiations to no one. We know he doesn't even have a mobile phone. I don't know what he does. He sends these funny little emails around, and he's really getting on in age. He shouldn't really be in there that much. Like Abramovich, he's the boss, but there's a layer. You've got people ahead of you to do it, and then you just have the final signature and tick off. It's just, everything is just wrong. We've got a good team, we've got a good manager, and just that bit missing at the end is try to get Sullivan out of it. Hopefully at the 1 or 2 windows are gone, we'll have a director of football, we'll have 1 or 2 more underneath him and more scouts. And we've enough saved on wages over the past few windows, like fortunes, and that should be. I know, and again, this is what annoys me, because other people on these other channels turn around and say, and I don't want to knock other people and what their opinions are, because they're entitled to it. But what I can't stand is someone turning around and saying these sides who have bought signings and bought players in, it's because they've sold players. I know we haven't sold anyone. One, that's Sullivan's fault in the first place, because he didn't get any money back off our record signing with Anderson, and we didn't get any money for Haller really after we paid out a fortune for him. But we have saved, if you look over the last few windows, how much we've saved on wages, mate, it adds up to an absolute fortune. And that does equate to money that should be able to be spent. I know there's an argument of balancing books and everything else, but our revenue isn't
that different to what we'd normally be. I know the pandemic and no supporters and no fans and all that, but how many times do we get told that, you know, the television money's where it's at? And I think when we looked at the financial analysis, and I don't want to go into financial analysis because I'm not an accountant, so I've got no place to say anything. But I think like match day money adds up to like £4 million, mate. We ain't missing £4 million. That isn't why we're not able to go and make the normal signings that we would normally make. So I know a lot of people are also saying, you know, 1 or 2 transfers will do for now. Yes, I think we'd take anything right now, anything. It didn't matter what it was. I think we all just want to sign him. Last time we was in this position and we went into Europe, we signed 8, 9, 10 players. And I know they weren't great, and I know none of them worked out, and I know they all have left the club since and everything else. And I'm not saying that that's the answer to go and sign a load of rubbish like XBazx and Fagulis and all of those players. But last time we needed 8, 9, 10, 11. This time we're saying we need 1 or 2. I don't see any youth really that ready to step up into those positions. I am a little bit concerned that I think we was already thin on the ground last year to get for a Premier League season. Well, this season we've got European football and travelling involved in the mix as well. So I think we are super thin on the ground, and players have left since then. So it does worry me. I'm looking forward to a good season. I hope that first 11 have got the makings of going and doing something quite special this year, and could really go and you know, have a chance of doing something in a cup or getting us through the group stages of Europa or whatever it may be. But I just do fear that one big injury can completely undo our season. And it will be, and like someone just put in the chat, mate, that could almost happen day 1, day 2. Don't be surprised if it happens early and then it all goes wrong. So, I mean, that's how I feel. I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it. I just want to enjoy it. I'm not letting Sullivan ruin it, but I am worried that we are so thin on the ground. How do you see next season going? Do you have any hope? Do you think we've got a chance of having a bit of a cup run?
I can't say anything until the window closes. I can't. My answer today will be different. My answer in 2-3 weeks' time, if 4 bodies are over the line, will be different. I did say on another channel that assuming that we are not that bad or silly, or we will bring 4 or 5 bodies over the line, then I said 7th. Because my way of thinking was that if I look at the big teams we finished ahead of, so we finished 6th. So behind us were Everton, Villa, Spurs and Arsenal. Then I said 6, and which 4 are going to go ahead of us? Then I kind of had a feeling Everton don't seem to be moving in the right direction from their leadership. They're just throwing money left, right and centre, but don't have a clue about what they're doing. Spurs, I'm loving the mess at Spurs, to the point, I have to admit, I'm actually watching one of their channels. I just love the meltdown. Arsenal are nowhere near our first 11 in terms of quality. So I was thinking one of them, okay, they might go above us. So 7th, I said 7th, I was saying. And for me, a bad season would be bottom 10. So top 10 at a minimum, and 7th, I would say,
Yeah. And what's your priority? And not what West Ham's priority. If it was you, if you was in charge of West Ham United right now, where would you want to see? Because there's no way we get away with playing the same 11 for all the cup matches, all the Premier League matches, all the Europa matches. It's just not going to happen. So where do you put out your strongest 11?
Do you know what it is? At the beginning, Europa and the League and Europa in that order. So League and Europa second, but joint like equally at the beginning. But then you got to keep looking at the league. So you got to see the squad. And if they're handling it well, then you carry on that way. If you find that the league form is suffering, then I think all managers are going to adjust what they're doing. So it's going to be in that order, I think. League and Europa together in equal importance. Cups all depend on draws, as you know, Frank. You know, we all want the FA Cup, but like in all previous years, if we bloody get Man City away, FA Cup 3rd round, forget what we're thinking.
Taking us fielding the youth in the League Cup, the first round that will be of the League Cup? Are you taking that's all youth, no real, total 11 changes and going out? Is that acceptable this season?
No, we don't really have much youth. Like you said, we got 1 or 2 flying around. We don't really have many. That's why we need these 3 transfers and more players in there. No, I like cups, but I do understand our squad at the moment is really thin on the ground.
I do think that might be one you've got to sacrifice. I just feel like one's got to be go. One's got to go, and I think the
One,
League Cup is probably one that you sacrifice, and you say, it is what it is, because you can't do it all.
And it is week to week, like you said. The manager's got to look at the condition of the players as well. It depends on so many things. I mean, okay, Rice is so young. He's in his right element of youth and strength, and the boy would go through anything for you, but doesn't mean you abuse him like that. And I was just looking, England's got another game in Hungary coming up, so that's all going to start again. Antonio's put his name down for Jamaica. You've got to look at that. Lingard's name's come back up again. If we bring him, are we going to disturb Ben Rama, or are we going to use him as a striker? I mean, if you go back to traditional times, it's got so bad for us that we've got one. I don't even regard him as a striker. He's done a good job. Thank you. We need 3-4 strikers. And we only play one up front. I don't like that anyway. I love the two up front. I think Villa are going to play two up front as an example this season with Ings and Watkins. I like one. So Antonio's in there, kind of. Then you want one more big boy like him. Then you need a couple of Tony Cotties. So you need 3-4 scenarios. You need two big boys, one like Armstrong. So Armstrong would have been good off the bench. Blackburn is a bit of a goal getter. I'm not sure he can hold it up, but he's not big enough to play in the one up front. But he's from the bench. He can play in Europa, play two up front. So you want you want to give your manager like David Sullivan. If I was Sullivan, and you're looking at David, I would have given him the biggest cuddle you can imagine. Say, well, thanks, mate. You've got a few of the fans off my back. Like, tell me, what can I do for you? Tell me, I'll do anything for you. But it's been the reverse. You keep trying to kill him in the corner. What I mean, David's going to do is like non-political. I'm happy with my squad crap, which none of us believe. Because I thought Sullivan would have been jumping to, we're on a good thing here. I want to give him more money. It's gone the opposite, mate. So I think they've gone from being too silly, wasting money on agents, money down the drain, to be extra cautious now, Sullivan, to reclaw some of that money back, and we're going to suffer. It's totally stupid what he's doing. Now he's too cautious. Oh, you want 1 million more? I ain't doing it. And he's walking away.
I do feel like it's very typical luck of West Ham that we have the season. The season we had was a season where we couldn't watch it and enjoy it, which you couldn't believe. It was during a pandemic, so we're not able to capitalise now and go, imagine this is normal times. Well, I don't know. This is another big question, right? So this is normal times now. The pandemic hasn't happened. West Ham have got into Europe. Do we go and spend 150 million, or would it be exactly the same as it is now? Is the pandemic to blame, or is this just a normal Sullivan transfer window?
It's a normal window. We don't need anywhere near that amount, Frankie. We've got a really good, strong 11. We just need 5-6 bodies over the line, and you carefully get those. Bring in 2 at 20 million each, and then the 10, you can easily bring another 3 if you really carefully look at the markets. Look at Saka. We found him in the French second division. They're out there if you're looking. And then perhaps Duke was linked with a move to Leicester. I personally, be honest, I haven't got time for him. I've got to be honest about it. I think he's not clever enough. He can't read the game. He doesn't anticipate. He's bad at marking. Okay, gets you the odd goal, and he's got a nice smile on him. He's a great human being. For me, he's not for me. And if someone's silly enough to pay 20, 30, 40, which I never really knew was going to be the case, so I would have let go of him and brought someone else in. For me, he's had enough time. I just don't think it's there, And
you've mentioned his name, mate. That Daka transfer was superb business.
Man,
fantastic business. That is one of the most promising young strikers in world football, and it had to be Leicester that went and got him because they know what they're doing, mate. I mean, that one signing like that would have been enough. We could have shut that window and gone, do you know what? We've got a superstar there, and that would have been enough to satisfy everyone. It doesn't take a lot to keep us fans happy, mate. That's what I don't understand. We don't sit here asking for the world. We just ask for a little bit of ambition, a little bit of, I don't know, just show us something. And we'd all sit here and go, okay, we know we're not the richest club in the world. We know we're not Man City. We'll take it and we'll move on. Instead, we get what we've been given. And you do look at it and you just think, it almost is to me like it gets done on purpose, the way they do things, just to wind us up.
Well,
you do think, is it just to wind the fans up as much as possible and make us lose the plot? Because there's just no need for it.
There's no need for it. And I mean, the owners know we're not too keen on them, but it's your own property you're damaging at the end of the day. You bought it for 80 million. and the future people who'll come in, they're going to pick up 400-500, which is what 600% of what you put down. Just move on, mate. You know, you're old, you got lots of money. You don't need the hassle of us always having to go. You enjoy yourself. Go to Barbados. Probably got a villa there. You know, I would get out. You know, ASAP. You would do the same if you come to that age of your life. You don't want to see us like having a go at you. And we always believe in, especially Asian Indian culture. If someone's always having a go at you, it's bad. I mean, imagine at night when Sullivan goes to sleep at night, the amount of people in that day have said, "FW." That's not good. That's not good karma, mate. When people are, you know, you don't need it. You know, get out there, mate, and you've done really well out of the deal. You know, you made your money 4, 5, 6 times over. Yeah, it's frustrating. Like you said, if there's someone like Armstrong went for 16 million, I bet we were offering 11 and pissing the club off. Someone wanted Daka went for 23, 24. I think we were probably offering 18. This guy at the moment, centre back, they want 16, 17. We're arguing at 14 for like 4 weeks. If someone wants 7 million, we're arguing at 4 million. I'm like, oh my days, there's a limit to the time spent.
But I do feel like the board used to be good at pacifying West Ham fans. There used to be times where we'd get angry and they'd go and make a little move and they'd do enough to keep the West Ham fans happy. They'd almost pour a little bit of water onto the fire just to cool everything down a little bit. And they always used to do that. They've almost stopped bothering. They almost now don't give a toss whether they do or whether they don't. And it's just like they just love to wind us up. It is frustrating.
Do you know what it is in business? They're reactive, not proactive.
Oh,
so
yeah,
he'll wait until he sees we're having a go at him, and then he'll get on the phone and try.
And that's what happens. And sometimes when we've given enough pressure before, sometimes it has forced him to go and make a move. So there you go. Maybe we need to make a bit more noise on that first
One more
game.
thing, Frankie. One more thing. Did you notice? Was he at the ground at Saturday? And you, the board member,
Didn't see, mate. To be honest, I can't say I saw anything about it. I saw a few people ask, and everyone said, "Well, he probably would have been there because it was such a small crowd and there was no animosity." So I don't know. I'd have been surprised if he wasn't. There was a few people in the chat, mate, saying that Newcastle's going to be a very tough game. Jonathan Greenwood, who is part of Newcastle Fans TV, was keeping himself quiet, but now he knows we're scared. He's decided to pop up and have a bit of a go. He said, "Are you lads not scared of Callum Wilson?"
Yes, I am. I am. They've done a double over us, I think, last season, if I'm right. And Joe Willock, he's on the way to Newcastle for a medical, and they're going to register him by midday tomorrow. Yeah, he scored in the last game. So you got Callum Wilson, you got Maxine, you got oh my days,
top player that Willock. And people knock Mike Ashley, mate. Jonathan ain't going to like this, but he knows I actually rate Ashley as a businessman. In fact, he's probably one of the businessmen that I admire most. I think if you watch his he done a video on YouTube around a committee. He absolutely smashed it. He come across so well. He was fantastic. If he goes and gets Willock over the line in these times, I think it's a fantastic bit of business for Newcastle.
I think he went to the same school as my kids. Yeah,
did he really?
School. Yeah, grammar school down the road.
No, for me, I think he's a fantastic businessman. And I'm not saying he's a great football owner, and I'm not saying he's done the right things by Newcastle very often, but I also think Newcastle actually think they're a bit better than what they actually deserve to be, and I think they're probably in about where they belong, to be honest. So John won't like that, but there you go.
Having said that, us, Villa, Man City, Newcastle, we're all about the same, and City got the jackpot, didn't they?
Yeah.
So we could have easily been Man City. We had the same fans as them, the same passion as them. Newcastle are passionate. Everton are up there. Villa. We're all 5 of us about the same, mate. Yeah. And whoever gets the jackpot gets the jackpot. Looks like Villa are doing well with their owners.
Villa are doing fantastic, mate. Their owners are doing brilliant.
Everton,
I admire them. Yeah, I absolutely admire them. There's actually a lot of. It could have gone very wrong in England with the outside investment that was coming in. And actually, I think the Premier League's been very lucky with some of the owners that they've actually found for football clubs, because Leicester, they've been done well. Leicester's fantastic. And Wolves, again, fantastic owners down there. I think we've been very lucky with the outside investment we've had so far. And I'm glad, because I don't want it all to go to Saudi businessmen who don't care about football, and you never see them and they're never here, and that wouldn't be good for our game. So John Nix has said apparently the agent of Milenkovic wants £5 million. The thing is, mate, if you're going to get one of those end of contract type deals, the money normally goes to agents' fees. If it's a cheap deal, you normally end up paying through the nose elsewhere, whether it be via a signing on fee, whether it be via an agent fee. You've got a cheap deal in the first place. This only makes his transfer fee closer to what it should be. So for me, if he's your man and he's the man that you need, put up the dough.
Yeah, he's only 23. Only 23. Yeah.
This is it, mate. This is it. And I know it's a lot of money, and I do understand that, and you don't want to throw money down the drain.
And what I was saying is about building relationships with the club. If you treat them well, you give them a little bit more. Next time there's a player, imagine next time there's another player, they're gonna say, I'd rather sell him to West Ham. I like dealing with those lads, you know. So this is what you got to think about, isn't it? But if there's 2-3 clubs after they play and West Ham, they don't want to talk to West Ham. Like, oh God, I'd rather talk to Tottenham. Like they're all right last time, went through really quick. So you got to think of the things that are outside money. That agent, I know you shouldn't rely like that, but you might have another player in a year, and he might do a little deal for us. You know, you don't know these things. Yeah.
No, it's going to be an interesting one. Costa Hammer said Daka didn't want to come to us, and that's fair enough. But at the end of the day, you know, that again, it all boils down to, you know, how you're portraying yourself as a club. We were supposed to be West Ham London, this global brand that people would want to flock to play in this unbelievable stadium and everything else. If we haven't achieved that, then, you know, they've only got themselves to blame for that. So.
Yeah, well, Leicester won the cup, then they won the little trophy at the weekend. But yeah, we're both in Europa. There wasn't much difference in points. I think we did a double over them, perhaps. So yeah, but he feels there's an extra vibe at Leicester, which I can see. Yeah.
Mr. Macy's back. It's good to have him back with these out of the box kind of comments. There's a squirrel in my back garden that looks like Nick Knowles. Unless he brings lots of other squirrels and builds me extension, and I don't think he's the real McCoy. He's a top man, Mr. Mason. Really glad to have you back in the chat, mate. So thank you for that. What has Glenn put here? We played poorly first half at Newcastle last season. For me, forget that first game. The last game still hurts, mate, because that was us getting Champions League football, and we was in the driving seat, mate, and we threw it away. Still hurts.
Frankie, I liked your comments the last time when a lot of people are saying that the team did well because the fans are not in the ground. But you rightly said that we would have given them the final push and got over the line, isn't it? Because we started to play well really quickly from I think the second or third game.
Yeah.
And the Leicester performance was voted the best performance of the year, I think, in the awards last week. And come on. I've been at the ground when it's rocked, mate. London Stadium, a couple of good performances, and it would have rocked, and they would have loved it. Yeah, the Chelsea night game, the Tottenham night game, they've all been, you know, real good atmospheres. I think the point is, we've always said, and Joe Cole said it very well actually on BT Sport, West Ham fans are not very hard to please. All they expect is 100% commitment, 100% when you're on that pitch, and that's good enough for us. And last season was the first time in a very, very long time that I actually think we saw 100% commitment, 100% togetherness, a level of fitness that actually was suitable for Premier League football, because I think we've always struggled with fitness before, and we didn't last season. And actually, I think that effort and energy level, mate, I don't think there would have been a single grumble in that ground. And I even don't think that even if the board weren't making signings like they didn't really in January, and there would have been a little bit of animosity, I actually don't think we would have let that detract from getting behind the team. I think we would have carried them over the line and really pushed them on. And I think we would have got it, mate. I do. What we've got to do, like you said, is just concentrate on what's happening on that pitch. And it's easy to get involved with the transfer dealings, the board, then we feel down again. But when you, like you said, truly focus on what went on that pitch, it was incredible. Yeah. From the kickoff, the professionalism, the concentration. We had a lot of captains on that pitch within our team. And we beat teams that some people said, in the past you haven't beaten them. And we did. We outran Leeds. So many performed Villa. We done Villa over twice. Great team they were last season. So on the pitch, like even now, first 11, God, we don't have an issue. I mean, people like Kafal, Souček, Antonio, they were getting to most teams up there in the top 6. You know, the 4-5 that we've got, the cluster. Creswell had the season of his life last season. 2 goalkeepers who are brilliant, so that's another good positive. I love the new goalie coming in. I think that's a really shrewd. I think he's going to be good. You know, he's going to be good. Them two, they're going to give you push each other for that spot, and that's what you want all across the pitch, isn't it? Really, bit worried about. See, you can't forget Dawson had a good season, but we can't put too much weight because he's dodgy as you like. And he's $1 million, $2 million quid. He's just there to fill the numbers. He's not. Mate, but this is what gets me as well. Yeah. Mate, there were actually some people saying that he should have been considered for England.
Mate, he is a real poor defender. He makes a lot of mistakes. He done a fantastic job for us last year. I really appreciate the effort that he gave.
Yeah.
He's an effort man. He did give everything that he could every time he went on that pitch. And I actually think that was the real character of West Ham last year. I wouldn't say there was unbelievable quality at times or anything like that. I just think everyone gave it everything they could every game.
Yeah.
And I think the Czech boys helped with that, because I think they come into training and our players who had it easy for a long time saw how much they ran and how much energy levels they had and how much they could run. And I think it woke them all up. I think it woke the whole squad up as to what the expectations are.
Lingard was a nice cherry on the cake. And what I noticed about Lingard is how rapid he brought a lot of pace to the team. Do
you know what he brought, mate? Yeah. It was pace, but I should tell you more than anything, it was that get the ball and be positive, look forward. We always had this thing, and Noble's a little bit to blame, and we're not going to knock Noble in his last season for West Ham, and I hope that we do something good for him this season. He enjoys the last year with West Ham, but Noble is very much a side-to-side backwards type player. Rice almost started falling into that trap. What Lingard did is every time he got the ball, it was positive. Go forward, make something happen, drive.
Available, run out of
that's
defense.
It. That's what you've got to do. And he brought that in, and I think we lack that. And I think Lingard almost showed that he was, in terms of ability and knowledge of that part of attacking football, that he was a bit above everyone else in our squad, to be honest. He was that little step up, do you know what I mean? So it would have been nice to keep him around. And again, like we said earlier, about how Sullivan could have kept everyone happy, I actually think just signing Lingard would have done it as well. I mean,
you imagine imagine you're in the defence and you're playing West Ham, and running at you got Antonio, you got Lingard, you got Bowen, you got Souček, you got Kufal, you got Rice. Jesus Christ, I would not want to be in that team. That is like power, pace, and all day they're going to run, because David's nuts. He runs them into the ground. He goes, "You carry on running, mate. No, you don't stop." And that's a good base to build on. And then you bring your nice, like Ben Rama's a nice little skillful little player. Hopefully he'll come out of his shell a bit more this season. And I want the guy to grasp, big games by scruff of its neck and dominate games. And then he'll show kind of that he's good. Because last season, there are some people out there who's kind of be upset about some of the things said by Ben Rama. But I think they were valid, because I don't think he was above Lingard last season or
no.
And then this time round,
do you know what I love about Ben Rama is he's turned around and he said, "I didn't get a pre-season last year.
Yeah.
That was what was missing for me. If you don't have a good season, analyse why you didn't have a good season." I think he has. I think he's looked and thought, I weren't quite on the pace. I weren't quite ready. He's had that bit of time this year. And, mate, he's looked electric since pre-season. And I hope that we don't do something silly and knock his confidence back. He's now a confidence player. Let him loose. Don't hold him back. Don't make him too defensive. Don't say he's got to sit deep and he can't have shots from outside the box. Just let him go now and let him express himself. And I hope we do that. And the other thing that concerns me a little bit is that Rice has been good enough to stick around, touch wood, and it seems like that's been the case. He was probably, at times for England, the best player on that park. He certainly was in the final. I just hope that he doesn't be given the attacking role this year out of the two between him and Souček, because I know he wants it and he wants to add more to his game and he wants to add goals and he wants to add this, everything else. Souček for me is the bigger threat in the opposition box, without a doubt. And there were times last year where Souček became the more defensive man, and Souček's not the same player. He almost gets a little bit bored. With Souček, you've got to let him bomb. When he goes, he just aims for that box and he gets in there, and he was getting his head on everything and he was scoring goals and he's a pest in that box. I just hope we carry on letting him bomb forward and Rice doesn't step up and say, "I'm the captain, I'm the main man, I'm the one who's now going to be the attacking out the two," because I just don't think that's Rice's game. I think he's better as that holding man.
I mean, another issue is, do we have a penalty taker that we're happy with? We don't, do we?
Really, mate.
No, we don't.
Really.
So that's gone. I mean, Lingard was okay with it. Rice just keeps hitting the post a little bit. He doesn't look confident, mate, taking penalties, Rice. I mean, he won't turn it down the opportunity. Antonio, got to look the other way. I don't know where the ball's going to go. So
it is worrying. Mate, I've let Cresswell get him. I've let Cresswell get him. We both said the same there. He's good from a dead ball. He's a good striker of the ball. For me, he's the man that I'd have on.
I had one question for you, Frankie, because I enjoy listening to your views. Do you think Anderson should have been given one more chance. You think if the like have a word with him, say, son, this is absolutely the last time, and now I don't know, mate, what's going on mentally in his head. I don't know, mate. So what do you think on him? I don't know.
It's a weird one. I certainly don't think we should have given away from nothing. I can't believe we couldn't find someone to stump up a few quid for him. That was beyond me. It was obvious that we just had to get him off the books. The problem is he went out on loan and he didn't change then. He went to Porto, that was in Europe. He was playing European football. He was back, you know, he was given that second chance almost in that loan. If he'd have gone and performed, then you would have said, right, now come back and we'll find a place for you. The fact is he went there and I think within weeks he was dropped and the guy was branding him as lazy and everything else. It just shows you that, mate, sometimes when it's rotten, mate, there's no way back and that's it. So no is my answer. I think it was right for him to go. I just can't believe we've had to give him away.
I think the other thing was when you look at Pellegrini, you look at Bilic, they're soft managers, soft. They can't have a go at anyone. They put their hands in their pockets. You see them on the pitch. But when you look at David Moyes and perhaps Sam for different reasons, and that Porto manager you spoke about, they're probably hardcore. And if you don't run, you don't effort, I don't want to see you again.
No.
So you get that side of it, and then it doesn't suit some players. Maybe they need a arm around them. But then Anderson never performed when you approach him in that manner. And I don't know.
Yeah, no. Right. Well, that sums it up for me, mate. I've got to go.
Yeah,
but,
sure. Great, brilliant.
I hear you're on Forged Irons this evening.
Forged Irons around 8 o'clock with Gatesy, Dukesy, and good old little Milesy.
So if no one has come across Forged Irons yet, then go and check them out. 8 o'clock, Jazz will be over there, so go and give that a watch. And mate, we'll keep touching base. And as things develop, then we'll jump on and we'll have a chat about things. And
we might even be discussing one signing.
Maybe
on that one.
If we sign anyone, I don't care who it is, we've got to come on and do a video, mate.
Champagne, everything.
That's
mate.
it.
Baz
We'll do
on
it, the whole lot.
Party poppers playing live. Yeah. All right. Take care.
Right then, mate. Catch you later on.
See
you later.
I'm forever blowing bubbles, pretty bubbles.